Hey y'all, what's up, man? It's the Rucksack Revolution podcast. This is Gene, and my guest today is actually my erstwhile compatriot in the pursuit of all things video casting, podcasting, blogging. Which, like I said, blog sounds like you were out too late last night drinking too many
Right, yeah, it does.
Blog. Or vlog the Impaler or something. But anyways, so this is Mitch. This is the smart guy in our little thing we do. And like I said, I'm just the guy that drove the car around and took pictures. But anyway, so the reason I asked Mitch on the podcast today is that in 1 week, it's going to be election day. Exactly 1 week from today, in 7 days. In fact, I was out and about a little bit about an hour or so ago around town. And when I got home, I flipped on CNN real quick, and Obama was giving a stump speech. I don't know, if you're not the candidate, do you give stump speeches?
Sure.
Is it okay? I didn't know if you have to be. I don't know
either.
So he was talking about why you should vote for Biden. That's what he was doing.
Right.
But it was in Orlando, not far from here, and I watched it for about 10, 15 minutes, and I'm captivated listening to Obama speak now because he can speak in like full sentences. He's intelligent. He has empathy. He at least sounds like it. I mean, I'll give him that much. Versus like listening to Trump, who's sort of like listening to a pissed off second grader with a limited vocabulary. Actually, second graders have more of a heart than he does. So that's like putting down second graders. But anyway, so Mitch, y'all, lives in Pennsylvania. And if you've been keeping up with things at all, there's a couple things that are going on now that Pennsylvania seems to have been a central thing about. One is the election, because much like 4 years ago, I guess, in a lot of respects, it seems like in a lot of respects, the election, from what I'm understanding, much like a few years ago, is going to come down to Florida, where I'm at, and Pennsylvania, where Mitch is at, and more likely Pennsylvania, which is why they have
Ohio. But yeah, you're basically right. Yeah.
I've heard that I watch CNN some and MSNBC, that Ohio is kind of neck and neck, but right now Trump looks like he's probably going to get Ohio narrowly.
Yeah, it's kind of like that in Pennsylvania, except for the other side of the fence, right? So Ohio, and hey, you know what? I have it. I can just show it to you on 538 if you want to see.
Okay,
let's do that. 1 second here. Okay. You see that?
Yeah, I'm picking it up.
Okay.
Mitch knows how to do all this fancy stuff with this thing, and I'm still trying to figure it out because, like I say, he's smart and I'm not.
So there's this thing here that talks about this is called the winding path to victory.
That looks like Candyland, man.
Yeah,
basically Candyland or something.
And so
they land on Wisconsin, and they say like, eat cheese, go back 2 spaces, don't take a crap for a week.
Right. What is that? Nebraska. Yeah. So they have it kind of laid out like from most red to most blue, and there's all this kind of like toss up area here in the center. And if you'll notice here,
so the middle, like by that line, is sort of the most toss up, and then obviously red and blue.
Basically, that line represents the 270 electoral votes. You gotta cross the line to win the election.
Is that like the Mason-Dixon line? I see it goes through Pennsylvania.
I mean, you can make an argument for it, right? Because like there's Pennsylvania right there, and so Pennsylvania is sitting dead on the line. Now, if you look over here, where did I see it? Ohio is right about here. Right. So it's pink. 1 point. Right? It's pink. But look how close it is to not being. Look at Georgia.
Oh yeah, Georgia's in play. Biden is. I don't know if he is today, but I was watching last night on the news that they were showing the states, not where the vice presidential candidates would be, just Trump and Biden, the states they were going to be at, and they were pointing out how Trump was going to states that Nebraska was one because they split their electoral vote. It's not really take all.
Right.
And he's thinking, if I can just get 1 or 2, more delegates from there. Whereas they were pointing out that Biden was going to Florida, which was kind of obvious, and Pennsylvania, but he was going to Georgia, and they were like saying that basically Georgia's like neck and neck. That like normally Biden would be going there the week before the election.
But I've noticed a trend in recent years. I say recent years, maybe like 10 or 15 years. Georgia is a very purple state. It is a very winnable state.
Look at Stacey Abrams. Maybe if Governor
Mhm.
Kemp might not have been what was he, Secretary of State, which means he oversaw the election he ran in.
Yeah, is that it, or is it us? You're probably right.
Yeah. I'm looking up. I got a buddy here that recommended a 30-minute video to me, or not video, but TV show, whatever. It was on Netflix. I'm looking it up right now because I watched it last night. And I want to get the name of it right because I want to tell you about it, tell everybody else. And I just got to kind of go back through here and find it. Come on. Where is it? We've been talking too much here on this thread. Damn it. Here it is. Whose vote counts? And it's about 30 minutes long. It's a really great little documentary. It's on Netflix. Whose vote counts? Leonardo DiCaprio did the narration, and they've got Stacey Abrams is on there.
Yeah.
But so there's some Republican folks. There's some Democrat folks. It's a really well done video, and it basically explains the history of voting in the United States. And it very much circles around the idea of felons getting their voting rights back. But it's talking about how a big argument in U.S. history is voting a privilege or a right, and just how. And one of the things a lot of people don't realize, and I love to throw this up in the faces of some white guys that are, I'm all about we need to be careful about all this voting fraud and all this and that. And I tell them, I go, do you know that when the Constitution was first ratified, roughly 20% of American citizens could vote.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that. It wasn't, you had to be white, male, freeborn, a landowner.
Yep.
And it was something else. A citizen, I guess. White male, male, citizen, freeborn, and a landholder, or have a certain amount of funds. You had to have some stake in the game, skin in the game. And then so the whole history of the United States has been, along with immigration is the history of the United States, but it's been this expansion of the voting franchise, whether it's been to black men in 1866, or women with what was it, the 20th Amendment, the right of 18-year-olds to vote back in what year was that, 69, 70, when Nixon was president.
Yeah.
And now we've reached this point where rather than expanding the franchise, especially Republicans are working on de-escalating the franchise, I guess you could say, because I've been saying this to people for a while. I don't believe the Republican Party as it stands now will be a national party in 30 years.
It certainly seems to be in its death throes to me. Now, I'll say that anybody who is deeply entrenched, this applies to either side of the fence. The ones who are deeply entrenched will die entrenched, but they will die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's this moderate middle that has always been the moderate middle, the undecided voter or whatever. And it seems like there are just a lot fewer undecideds this time around.
I don't know where they're finding these people for these town halls online, or the town hall debates, and they say, okay, we brought in 60 undecided voters, and even the commentators are saying, it's how you can be undecided at this point.
Right.
I mean, I think these people are lying, man, to get on TV. I
mean, maybe, but also it could be that those are the 60. You know what I mean? Like
in the whole damn U.S.
Right. We found them. We found them all. They're right here.
I'm saying, man, we beat the bushes, and we found this one guy in Nome, Alaska. He doesn't even own a TV. He hasn't had one in 30 years. He doesn't even know who's running because it's just so.
You're joking about that, but actually, I got to tell you that I had a conversation with my mother recently, and I grew up in rural Southwest Georgia, but I grew up in a fairly progressive household. My mom has always been a very progressive lady, and she's like liberation theology progressive. You know what I mean? We should take care of folks. And about 13 years ago, I guess it was, No, hold on. Let me do some math real quick here. It'd be about 17 years ago now.
Don't try to do math. You were a liberal arts major. You'll mess it up.
I majored in math for a semester at Bainbridge College.
I see you changed your major.
For a semester. Yeah, then I wanted to be a cartoonist instead.
Didn't you major in like art history when we were in college?
Yeah, I was.
Like at least I majored in history. You majored in art history, man.
I was going to curate
a cool major, but
no, it's not.
you're not exactly gonna. That's not a living wage major unless you end up like running the Smithsonian or something.
I've always had a desire to do like nonprofit work, and I'm a librarian now, and that's kind of falls right in line. And then I taught high school, so it's not nonprofit, but it was, you know what I mean. It's sort of the same.
Yeah.
Sector.
It's a helping profession.
Right. I want to serve the public. But I thought that I would curate an art gallery or work at an arts council when that was kind of my aim, you know. And so I did. I worked at an arts council in Rome for a little while, Rome, Georgia, folks.
Yeah, I remember that.
And man, you know, I just had to decide one day that I enjoyed eating. Yeah. And there went the arts council thing, because man, it was super fun, and I met some really cool people, but gosh, I couldn't keep the lights on. You know what I mean? I
still remember, like, you're a senior. You know, for all you don't know, we went to Berry College in Georgia. You're a senior art show. It was at that restaurant I cooked
the
there.
Levy.
The restaurant. What was it called?
Levy. The Levy.
Yeah, the Levy, and then upstairs was sort of like the club. And you have kind of like the Roy Lichtenstein prints that you did, they were like cartoon prints, right?
Well, there were cartoons. It was actually, I curated the show. It wasn't my work. It was I had 5 artists in the show. They were all comic artists, and so
I thought that was your work. I forgot.
The collection was comic art, right? And so I just had to write the paper and give the talk, you know, and talk to these people and get them all organized. Because again, I wanted to curate. I wanted to put together shows. That was what I had to demonstrate or whatever. And man, you know, that show actually made a pile of money.
Really?
Those 5 guys. One of them got.
There were a lot of people there that night. I remember that.
Yeah, the opening night was huge, and the bar. And so I talked to the bar into. I was like, "Listen, you guys can keep all the concessions if you just let us use the space." And they were like, "Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. You know, it's not like we're going to make that much more money. Blah blah blah." You know. We packed that joint out, and that place, because you know Scott McIntosh worked at the Levy. He was a bartender there,
right?
And Scott said, "Man, we cleaned up tonight, dude. Like everybody that came through that door bought at least 2 beers, right?" And the kitchen was busy the whole night. I definitely did my share too. I was shocked at how I thought it would just be like 10 or 15 people, and no, man, that place was rocking. It wound up being the second most profitable art exhibition that semester. And the only person who had a more profitable one was Amanda Dock, who was a ceramicist, and she made something like 25 grand. And we cleared 20 grand, but we didn't quite hit her number. But the cool thing is one of the guys that was in the show, last name was Beavers, Jason Beavers, was hired by Dark Horse Comics. Mm-hmm. Because of the show. There was a rep there from Atlanta who came up, a Dark Horse rep, and he hired Jason, and Jason went on to do pen and ink for Hellboy.
Wow.
Yeah, and all because he got. I mean, I'm not saying I'm responsible for Hellboy. That's not what I'm saying. But the guy who did pen and ink was in my show where an art guy saw, or a comic book guy saw him.
That's pretty cool.
There was another dude who went and worked for Deadfly Comics for a little while, but I think, if I remember correctly, I remember him. He killed himself a few years ago. And then there was a guy, JJ, who was he did political cartoons for some newspaper somewhere, New Jersey somewhere, maybe, I don't know. He did like the political stuff, little cartoons like you see in the editorial pages or whatever. He was that guy. But it was like 5 different comic styles.
So back to the election. Is anybody shooting up your house for supporting Biden? You are supporting Biden, I presume. So.
Have already supported, yes, and my vote is in and counted. Right.
Same here. So, my vote is counted.
It's funny that you say that. We had I saw your post on Facebook about the shoot up.
Yeah, two friends of mine. It happened a couple nights ago. I haven't talked to them yet. I saw all of it online, but they live like 3 miles down the road from me or something. Yeah.
I know that there was a professor at the university that works with Heather, and he is a Biden supporter and in Trump land, right? This is Trump land, by the way. He is a Biden supporter, had his Biden sign out in the yard and all this kind of stuff. And he got a delivery from FedEx the other day, and he has one of those doorbell cams, that has the somebody rings the doorbell, it like the cam comes on or whatever and lets you know who's at the door.
Yeah.
He got video. He has the video of this FedEx delivery driver ringing the doorbell, seeing his Biden sign there, and then just throwing his package at the door and walking away. And so the professor, the friend of ours, is like, he's like, man, I want to share this. I want to share this with like FedEx, social media or whatever. I want them to see what they're doing. And maybe I shouldn't say this. I'm going to say it. He was gently encouraged not to stir that pot. I'll just say it like that.
Huh. I would have stirred it. I would put that video online, send it to FedEx. It'd have been on YouTube. It'd have been on Jay Leno. Not Jay Leno. Ooh, I'm so old. Who's that guy? Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon.
So not exactly gunshots per se, but folks around here have strong opinions. Just
near as I can gather, what happened was, they live on this road. Like I said, about 3 miles up the road from me. Thereabouts, maybe 2 miles. Their next door neighbor, and they're kind of like in a subdivision sort of thing,
Right.
And their next door neighbor apparently, I think, has a security camera because the sheriff's department came out. I mean, they had 4 squad cars there investigating. I think there were 4 rounds. So the neighbor's security camera has got the car going by. They didn't. I don't think they got like the license plate or facial whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was a drive by, and they've got they got a sticker on the car, I guess, whatever. They got a sign in their yard. I think it said something like, "I'm voting for Biden and the woman who made Kavanaugh cry." I think is actually what it said. It's something like that. I mean, no disrespect to Ms. Harris, but it was kind of a joke, and apparently this guy, he just couldn't handle it. But from what I understand, there were 4 shots fired. It was at night. It was, I guess, Sunday night. And I think it was Sunday night. And late night, like maybe 11 p.m., 12 p.m., something like that.
Jeez.
There is my friends, they live together. And one of them had a photo of a bullet hole in the back end of their car or one of their cars.
Oh, wow.
Another round went through they got a fence around the backyard, like a wooden fence.
Yeah.
And a round went through the fence, and the sheriffs found the round in the backyard. Well, she was mentioning that they were just outside like 5 minutes before or something, less than 10 minutes before, taking the dog out for a shit or something, and then
man.
Theoretically they could have been
children.
They got no kids at the house. No, they're a little older, like I am. She has a daughter. Her daughter's like in her I guess early mid-20s now. But yeah, they were like, she basically where that round came through, she was standing there with a dog taking a pee or something, 10 minutes before. I don't know where the other 2 rounds went, but yeah, it was like a drive-by shooting of a Biden sign. Yeah. And another one is I was going to say, well, just generally down here, I know people that are like, dude, I know people that are like total lefties. I don't mean radical. I'm not talking about like progressive, on the way left. I'm talking your typical white middle class, I'm voting for Biden liberal, that are stocking up on ammo and buying more guns. And someone asked me the other day, they said, so do you have a weapon? And I said, no, I don't. And actually my roommate won't allow firearms in the house. Mm. And they were like, so what are you going to do? And I said, I have 2 weapons at hand. And they said, what? I said, I have a Gerber lock blade and I have a Gerber multi-tool. And if you know anything, I said, mine are not military issue, but they pretty much are. They're basically the same thing. Right. And I said, the only difference on my multi-tool is I don't have a front sight adjuster. Otherwise it would be the military issue multi-tool. I said, actually, if I need a weapon, I can get one. With those 2 things, I'm a devious little shit. And I was just saying, man, good soldiers never in need. Thus, Bone Frog shirt, right? My favorite thing about the Bone Frog race was the next to last obstacle I had to go through. If you know the Bone Frog, we all listening, all 6 of you. Oh man,
I'll get at least seven. Right?
I had a friend. He's going to be on the show, Trip Fuller. You got to meet Trip. He's in Scotland now, teaching, I think, at the University of Edinburgh. But he had a show, Homebrewed Christianity, which became like, and still is probably the biggest progressive Christian like podcast in the world. and we're good friends. And I think he was the one who used to talk about, yeah, there's like 6 of y'all out there listening to this. Actually, he probably had more than that at the time. This was in his early days, but now, like, there's thousands of people, listening to it. He's got 3 different podcasts now. I think Culture Cast, the Homebrew, whatever. Anyways, but the bone frog, the next to last obstacle I had to go through was basically a window infiltration. They had this wooden wall built, and there's a hole in it up at where the second floor would be. And so you've already run, like, say 3 miles or close to 3 miles, jumping over walls, rope climb, just all this crazy stuff. And if you know military obstacle courses, I've done the Dirty Name, I've done the Over Under, all the Weaver, it's called, all of that. And so you had to climb up this rope up the wall, right? You're climbing the wall with the rope, feet up the wall. You go through the window and then down a rope on the other side. And I was just kind of like, yeah, man, I can still do this crap. The only thing where I really messed up, I'm not good on the rope climbing anymore. I've just got to learn how to climb a damn rope again. And my upper body, my grip strength isn't great as it should be. So I had a little trouble with some of the monkey bar type stuff. But mainly, the one that pisses me off is the 8-foot wall. There was a 6-foot wall, 7-foot wall, 8-foot wall. 6-foot wall, no problem. 7-foot wall, no problem. 8-foot wall, 3 tries. I missed by just. It's like white men can't jump, dude. You were that close,
right?
And and I was talking with Staff Sergeant Farrar. He's the one of the Army recruiters upstairs from my gym. He was there, and saw me there and all. We were talking, and he said, "So what happened with the 8-foot wall?" And I said, "Well," and he's a ranger. He does all the ranger contracts, stuff like that. So he says, I said, "Well, when I was like 20 and I ran the O course." Like, what do you do when you have the 8-foot wall? You run faster to launch and get over the wall.
Yeah.
I said, it's not that at 57 I can't run faster. It's that at 57, the government is not going to pay for my broken leg if I screw up. And so what happened was that I said the 6-foot wall, 7-foot wall, I'm like, yeah, I got this. 8-foot wall, I sort of slowed down and actually walked up to the wall, considered it for a moment, went back.
Right.
I said, so I didn't really have the, and you had to do, if you missed an obstacle, you got to do a penalty. And I think with the 8-foot wall, I don't remember, it might've been like 25 push-ups or something. So I'm hitting the dirt, man. You
just immediately did that, right? It's like,
I figured I had a much less chance of being seriously injured doing 25 push-ups than, falling off an 8-foot wall on my head.
You remember the house I lived at in Bainbridge, right? That house in Bainbridge that I had a chain link fence around the backyard, right? And the neighbors who lived directly behind me, not the ones who were living there towards the end, but the ones when I first moved into the house, had a wooden 6-foot wooden privacy fence. And I remember one time we were out in the yard and those neighbors had moved out, and then the new people who moved in removed the fence, and partially because of what the story's about. But we were playing in the yard with something, I think a Frisbee or something, and the Frisbee went over the fence. And I must have been, let me see now, what was this, about 13 years ago? So what is that? I was about like 28, 29 years old. And I still could do this. And I got a running jump and cleared that 6-foot fence, just put my hands on top and sort of threw my legs over, right? Got the Frisbee, threw it back over the fence, and then went to jump back across. Only this time, when I put my hands on the top of those little boards, they're nailed in from my side of my yard side, right? And so when I put in, I leaned onto them, and they fell off. So I go clearing over. Bam!
I remember you telling me about that. I know that fence. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. You knocked the fence down.
Yeah, and the whole damn thing was like bowed down, and the chain links was off of it after that, because that wooden fence just like crushed that chain link. Little chain link fence was only like a waist high, And but yeah, that's all I got.
You sure you didn't just get bigger with age? You just run the fence over?
That is also true. Also true. Definitely not getting any smaller. Getting a lot slower.
So, what do you think? Give us your prediction for the election.
Well, we were just talking about it at work earlier. One of the, let's see, our executive director we were having a little meeting, and the executive director said that the school systems here are considering going to like virtual hybrid learning, like online learning, for the spring semester.
Are you in class? Are the public schools in class right now? Or are you
yes, they have
virtual?
in-person instruction, but now you can opt to go hybrid or virtual, or there's several different options that you can do, and there's some sort of mixture thing where you can like do part of your schooling in person and in part,
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing here in Marion County now. Something like
that's
that.
What Heather's supposed to be doing, but she got a waiver to teach. All of her classes are online, and a lot of that has to do with the nature of the class and the nature of her instruction. She needs to be able to share things with people digitally. She does digital publishing and editing, So anyway, that's neither here nor there. What the point of the conversation at work was that the whole time with Trump, like, we got to get back to school, we got to get back to work, got to open up the economy, go back to school. That's this whole thing.
Right.
Well, everybody went back because they were afraid he was going to start pulling their funding.
Right.
So and now that the writing on the wall appears to say Biden. I know it's early, and we were thinking Clinton, 4 years ago this time, right?
Exactly.
I get it, but the people who make these decisions are saying, if it's Biden, we are probably going to send our kids back home, and until this thing, until we can deal with this more effectively, because our numbers since school reopened here, our numbers have gone through the roof. I mean, we've at like an 8-fold increase in number of cases just since school reopened. And
I wish you talked to my buddy down here. I got a friend. We were up talking last night. He's my uber conservative friend. Like he's like libertarian, uber conservative. And he just all he posts is basically he thinks if you care about COVID, you're a pussy. I mean that's almost a quote. Okay, that's why I'm using that word. He told me not to be a pussy last night, and he's always like trying to separate logic or reason from emotion, and he thinks we're all just being emotional. And I told him, I said, man, your reasoning would have gone real good when I was a hospice chaplain. Separate reason and emotion. Yeah. I said, like, who the hell are you, Spock? But he thinks it's bullshit. And it's like, basically, so what if 1% die, or it's just old people, or it's this, or it's that. I will say he lost his wife to cancer last year, and I think he's still grappling with that.
Yeah, it sounds like he's grappling with a lot.
I can't discuss that with him. He's just not there, and hopefully he will be one day. All I want to do is get him down to the gym, because then he I don't know, it was a big, long discussion we had last night. I think he'd had a few beers, because he told me, I just think you're amazed you can write in complete sentences when you're inebriated. I said, listen up, brother. I said, I got out of the gym at 4:30. At 5:30, I had consumed 2 pints of IPA at an establishment that we both frequent. We'd have a nice outdoor, big seating area. I went out there, and now you saw I had a couple of beers. Some young guy paid for my beers because
I saw that. Yeah.
We're like in Hell Week, what they call Hell Week at Orange Theory, and it is some tough workouts. But I don't like that name, because I know some people that are operators, and to me, there's only one Hell Week. It's at Bud's. Don't be calling nothing else Hell Week, because it's like I told one of our trainers, dude, it's not like I'm doing 6 workouts in a row this week. Well, maybe 5. Friday, I'm not sure yet, because I got a pet sitting assignment right after. But the question is if I want to go to Gainesville and be smelly or not. That's basically the difference. But I told this trainer, I said, yeah, we're doing some hard stuff, but it's not like I'm getting only 4 hours of sleep this week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it's kind of, I don't know. I have a hard time with that name, but there are some tough workouts. But I said something when I was going in to get my beers, because I said, just pour me 2 pints. And the owner, I know, he says, what, are you two-fisted drinking? And I said, no, man, I added it up. I did, on top of, this was just a little part of the workout in the hour. I did 340 squats yesterday.
Wow, yeah.
Some were jump squats, some were pulsing, whatever, but it's 340 plus, we did this thing like you had to, you rode like 100 meters and 152, like these sprints links. And then you did a series of like 60 squats variations. Then your recovery time is you got on the treadmill and you ran uphill at a 10-degree incline for like a quarter mile.
To recover.
Which, by the way, I power walked it, and it still kept my heart rate up. But I mean, it's a fast walk.
Mm-hmm.
And It was funny because the other guys on the treads, they were all running, and I was just feeling like an old man, like, oh, I'm just being lazy today. But you know what? They did that first set. There was like 4 sets. Second set, they were all walking. Everybody was walking. And then I just felt like a prophet or something, like the prophet of the gym. Like, see, I told you all, man, she can be walking. But so I told him, I said, no, man, I'm just too damn tired to come back in here and get a second. I'm not making a second trip, dude.
Yeah.
So then this young guy, 23, 24, he's there with his girlfriend. And he did the whole, I said, yeah, man, today's workout, it's like being back in the Army doing PT, man. This was a tough one. He goes, oh, you're a veteran. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, sir. And I hate when they do that. I always say, hey, dude, that's enlisted, man. Don't call me sir. Well, my father taught me to say sir. And that's when I realized I have gray hair, Like,
right.
Oh, that's right. You are young enough to be my kid. So, all right, cool. I'll take that sir shit. All right. And then he said something. He went on about how, the thank you for your service. Tells the bartender, nope, I got his beers. They were like $5 a piece. So that was cool. And then he went on about how basically he was thankful to me because he had the right to vote because I served in the military. And I'm going with it because, dude, he's buying my beer. I'm just like, all righty then. I was not aware that, before you were born, like when I was on the East German border, snooping around.
Listen, it was a nice gesture.
I was not aware that communist China invaded California. Yeah, it was a beautiful thing, but it's sometimes. I'll be honest. I was talking with a friend of mine last night who's a vet online about it, and I think more so now after because we've been a combat army. When I was in the 80s, we were, Russia's on one side of the border. It was Cold War, a little different. Right. It had some hot spots, but overall, it was Cold War. Now we've been, out in the desert fighting for a generation. Mm-hmm. And I think guys like him and even some older guys, they're in that. I almost joined the service. It's kind of like, almost don't count, bro. Right. Almost don't count. And I think sometimes when these guys do that, I want to say this carefully because I know they mean what they say, but I think sometimes it's for themselves a little more than the person they're saying it to.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
In a sense, I please understand what I'm saying. I'm not trying to discount it, but it's sort of a thing. Most veterans I know, whether they've been in combat or not, when someone does that thank you for your service thing and all that, and I can't speak for all veterans, but a lot of ones I know and myself, I have a sort of discomfort when people do that because I think these guys or these people, they have this idea that we all, I don't know, watched a bunch of John Wayne movies growing up, like the Green Berets and, Sands of Iwo Jima and Flying Leathernecks and whatever. And we were just like, you gotta go out there and do it for the country. Look, man, I joined the Army because I wanted to get the hell out of my hometown. There's 2 ways out of your town, college or the military. I wasn't going to college.
Well, there's 4 ways.
I was born in Germany. You can go to prison too.
Or you could go to work.
Yeah.
And I guess technically there's 5 ways. You could just die. You can
die.
So
I wanted to go back and see Germany where I grew up and where I was from. That's why I joined the military. And because in my family, I kind of come from a Lieutenant Dan kind of family, except not that everybody died in every war. Mm-hmm. And I think we had a couple of officers, but mostly we were like enlisted guys. But I do have I found out from my dad. I had like a great uncle. I never met him. He was like maybe 1920. He went over in World War I as a doughboy and came home and had shell shock. And what my dad told me about him, he grew up with him they had a family farm, kind of like the Waltons, except in Wisconsin. And he couldn't handle loud noises, none of that. He was kind of like Boo Radley, To Kill a Mockingbird. He didn't go out, like when they went somewhere, he generally stayed home. I think he may have gone to church with him on Sunday. That was about it. But his job on the farm was feeding the chickens. That was his main job. He needed something to feel productive and worthwhile, but he couldn't be out like running, like say a harvester, things with loud noises, or he just couldn't handle shit. He was like, my dad said he basically came home like a 7-year-old, more or less, mentally, emotionally, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I got an uncle that was a medic on the first wave at Omaha Beach, stuff like that. So, yeah, but it's like that. And this guy I was talking to last night, about the whole COVID thing. He's one of those like, he's got his weapon. He's ready. He's all this crap. I told him when he wants me to come out and fire his AK. And the problem is we go out there. When I do see him, we have a beer. And I have a rule: if a beer is so much as opened, all weapons are put away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Alcohol and firearms do not mix ever. And or weed or anything else, any intoxicant, you better be damn sober when you handle a weapon, loaded or unloaded, in my opinion. But anyway, so I told him, I said, you know, man, I think you need to familiarize me with that weapon, you know, because it's been a long time since I fired one. So basically, I'm going to let him, you know, start with point A, like this is the stock, this is the muzzle, here's, you know, like the total. I've never seen an AK in my life. Then I'm going to go out to his range out in the backyard. Well, maybe night fire, and I'm going to smoke him.
Careful.
But I just want to, you know, for safety's sake and all that, I just want to refamiliarize myself with the weapon because it's been a very long time since I've even been around one. But yeah, you know, but I fired him in the Army, you know, but I'll leave it at that. But you know, but yeah, it's so down here. There are people that are talking about, oh, is there going to be a civil war? Is there going to be this? Is there going to be that? I told someone yesterday, I said, it won't be a territorial civil war like the Civil War was. It's going to be a nasty-ass guerrilla conflict.
Yeah, this is a conversation that David the Baker, David Wharton, and I have all the time. You know, his wife's doing that podcast, Being the Dot. I'm going to plug that for her real quick. Being the Dot, it talks about being black and white spaces, right?
Right.
And I told him, I said, this civil war, this thing that everybody keeps talking about, I said, if it happens, that's what it will be like. It'll be a bunch of dots and pools of different colored dots, right?
Up in Michigan, all those militia dudes are going to, you know, rise up, do something stupid and, you know. Like
I mean, I'm looking around though. You can see the campaign signs are out, so they're sort of like, okay, well, this is, you know, when it does hit the fan, we need to stay off this street. You know what I mean? Like, it's sort of helpful. So we're sort of mapping it out. I mean, it's weird to drive around and think in those terms, right? It's like, nah. But when you see those political bumper stickers, you know, when you see those, I'm not saying Republican bumper stickers. I'm saying you know, Trumper stickers. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you see those things, man, I just need to pull over and let this guy get on down the road. You know, I don't know if I can trust his driving. I've never felt like this. I didn't feel like this in the last election. I certainly didn't feel like it, you know, when the Republicans won and with the Bushes or anything like that. You know, it's like, you know, it sucked losing those elections, but like, God, you know, at the end of the day, at least you're getting a politician. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I guess that's somehow better than what we've had for the past 4 years.
I realized I was laying in bed. I think it was yesterday. I was laying down for a few minutes before I went to the gym, just, you know, chilling. I had like 10 minutes to burn or something before I leave. So I was kind of just laying there, you know, TV on or something. And I was thinking about it, and I realized how I feel. And I've talked with another vet friend about this, old buddy of mine, that like in the Army, you have this thing. It's called hurry up and wait.
Yeah,
happens a lot. Hurry up and wait. And there's this thing you develop this skill of like, you know, something big is about to happen or could happen, but you can't really do anything about it right now. And you learn how to pensively relax, I guess is the way to put it. And it's the sort of thing like, okay, like I'm laying here, and when it's time to go, okay, we go. And that's how I'm kind of feeling right now. That's sort of the feeling I have. It's like I'm very relaxed, but at the same time, yeah, if shit hits the fan, okay. You know,
I've kind of equated to, like, you know, the drawing or the cartoon or whatever, the Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer type, you know, overalls and a straw hat, and he's sitting on the bank of the creek with the string tied around his toe, and the hat pulled over his eyes, so he's just kind of napping, but not really, because that toe is always there, just waiting. As soon as there's a tug, it's like spring into action. Yeah, man, it's only a week away, dude. It's hard to believe. There's like this eerie calmness about everything. You know, we've been really slow at the library the past few days, and it's been kind of weird to me, because leading up to these past maybe 10 days leading up to that, we've had a lot of people want to come in and, you know, use our resources and stuff. That's fine. We're letting them do that. But you got to be fully masked to come into the building. If you don't want to wear a mask, that's also fine. We'll serve you outside the building. But in order to come in the building, you got to have a mask, and you got to ring a bell, and then somebody actually pushes a button to open the door, you know? That's how you get in. And if you're not masked, then they don't push the button, you know. And we've had a handful of people come in. Almost everybody who comes in, by the way, is masked, and they obey the rules and they behave themselves and they get in, they get their stuff, and they get out. Right. That's 95% of the cases. But there's always somebody who wants to come in with a crocheted mask,
right?
Or or just like, I'm allergic to masks. I'm like, well, fine. If you're allergic to masks, and that's not a real thing, by the way, but if
then you're allergic to this library,
you are also allergic to being in this building. So you can stay outside. Tell me what book you want, bro. I'll go get it off the shelf. You want a Clive Cussler novel? I'm sure that's what you're here for. I'll go grab you one, So in the past 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, there's just been fewer and fewer of people doing that. Do you feel
like it's stuff. Like when a tsunami comes in, like the water drops way back,
and the birds fly away,
right? And then all of a sudden, boom.
Right? Yeah. It does have a sense of that a little bit. I don't know, man. It's like I drive to work sometimes if I have to pick up the kids after work, but a lot of times I'll just walk, and because I only work like 2 blocks from my house, and past couple of times I walked over there, it's just like there's just this eerie quietness about it, almost like Old West tumbleweeds, and
like the movie High Noon, like the whole movie's before the gunfight,
right,
all kind of
right,
hanging out, looking out the windows and whatever.
What was that? Clint Eastwood, was it High Plains Drifter or something? One of those movies where it was like they went into the town and they like basically painted the whole town red or something like that.
Turned it into hell.
Yeah. Something like that. I feel like that's it. Oh, and in addition to that, Penn State lost their first game.
Yes, they did, to Indiana.
There are some very, very sad and upset people in this part of the world, man. They're playing that shortened schedule, and that's so every game is a little bit more important. It's like
losing to Indiana in the Big Ten would be sort of like losing to Vanderbilt in the SEC.
Yeah, something along those lines, or Arkansas, somebody like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like bad enough they went, overtime or whatever. But kudos to Indiana, I guess, for like just deciding to go for it. How often do you get?
They do that every season, though. They'll have like this one. They'll be like a 4 and well, let's see, you got a 12-game season normally. They'll be like 4-8, or maybe almost bowl eligible. But they'll knock off this one team a year,
right,
or come real close a couple times.
Right, they'll lose a game by 60 to Purdue, and then turn around and beat Wisconsin, something.
Every year it's like
what are you doing? Well, I guess Penn State was that team this year, right? I joked about it with I can't remember if I was talking to you on the live stream, or it was maybe on somebody else's stream. We were talking about after I moved up here, my brother messaged me one day. It was in the fall of the year, this time of year, and it's getting cold, Gene. It's getting cold up here, buddy.
Well, and, you're up north. It snows up in Pennsylvania.
Occasionally it snows. In fact, I got it in my Facebook memories. It snowed today last year, So and it's cold outside right now. But so Mikey will text me, hey, how's the weather or whatever, and all he wants me to say is, dude, the high today is 38. Something, and then he'll say, our high is 80 or whatever, and he gets a big chuckle out of that, and whatever, it's something to talk about. But there was one day I was leaving the library, and Ohio State and Penn State had played, and Penn State had led late, and Ohio State came back and beat them, right? And it was like the Penn State people just have their hearts just torn from their bodies repeatedly, and I was walking home, walking through the alley, cutting across in front of the church over there, and Mikey texts me, hey, man, how's the weather? And at the time he messaged me, I just so happened to be passing by a dumpster. And I kid you not, the game had ended about 2 minutes before I left the library. I'm passing by this dumpster, and there's a Penn State jersey hanging out of the dumpster. So I took my phone and took a picture of it. And he says, how's the weather? And I sent him this picture. And I'm like, weather's fine.
But Happy Valley's not happy.
Happy Valley is not happy right now.
It's a miserable valley.
Yeah, it's a place formerly known as Happy Valley,
Yeah.
Oh, man. Here's the funny thing. You're talking about Happy Valley and Beaver Stadium. I was having a conversation the other day at the library with a friend of mine, and we were talking about if you were to die a death that was related to an animal attack, what animal would most
Mountain lion.
likely?
Mountain lion.
No. You anticipated incorrectly.
Oh.
What animal would most likely be responsible for your death given where you live? So
Well, it wouldn't be a mountain lion here.
In Marion County, Florida, what animal would be most likely responsible for your death?
A Trumpster. The hardcore Trumpster, one of them trucks with them big flags. Well, we have panthers here, but we don't have many. I mean, that's a very.
How many people do they kill a year? How many people do alligators kill?
Alligators, they probably snag a small kid here or there once in a while.
But not enough to say you're more likely to die.
We don't. No, here in Florida, the things that'll kill you are like we have statewide. There's 7 species of poisonous snakes.
Right, snakes.
We got Portuguese man o' wars and other voracious jellyfish.
Yeah,
we got sharks.
Spiders and bees and mosquitoes and things like that.
Yeah. There's no like big mammals that'll eat you. You know, the bears here. I mean, I don't want to try to sound like Grizzly Adams. You can just shoo them off, but for the most part, the bears here are like big dogs. The only way I would feel endangered by a bear out here in the national forest would be maybe like a mom with her cubs.
Right.
That always.
And you'd have to get really intimate with one before it became dangerous.
Maybe a raccoon bites you and you get rabies.
Well, we got the same kind of bears here, by the way. Occasionally a bear will run across town, and it's like,
because everything's smaller in Florida, right? You know, like the deer are smaller up north or out west.
We got
bears,
big deer here.
The
deer here are shockingly big to me.
Yeah, you got the big whitetails and mule deer and stuff.
I mean, the deer that'll put a dent in you, So anyway, the punchline of the story. We're having this conversation, a buddy and me at the library, and all of a sudden, out of and we're trying to figure out what it would be for Snyder County, Pennsylvania. And I'm thinking, I don't know, man, a deer, I guess. I mean, there's no poisonous snakes here really to speak of, and there's just not anything that's dangerous. Maybe like a black bear, maybe, I don't know, not even a black bear. All of a sudden, a voice from the far room says, "Beaver," and I go, "What did you say?" And this guy goes, "I said beaver." I said, "Are you joking?" He goes, "Nope. I work for the Department of Natural Resources." He said, more deaths related to people hitting beavers with their cars in Snyder County.
I know beavers can get good sized out west. Are you telling me a beaver is big enough to like flip a car if you run over it, or
and not so much, but I think they build in places and they drag logs across roads. You know what I'm saying? And you can hit a beaver. I'll tell you this, and this is funny because I didn't consider it. I was like, oh yeah, everything here is named after beavers. There's Beaver Stadium, there's Beaver Township, West Beaver, Beaver Springs. Everything's Beaver, and people have the last name Beaver, right? This place is full of beaver, Gene. So visit sunny central Pennsylvania. It's not sunny. So there's when it snows, this was something that was shocking to me. Maybe this is dumb or whatever, but you never consider it until you have to deal with the logistics. When it snows, it stays cold. It stops snowing, but it stays cold. So that means the snow doesn't go anywhere. In Georgia, when it rains, the rain goes into the ground, right? Or it runs into a stream and then is carried away, right? So you don't have to worry about cleaning up the rain, but you have to clean up snow.
Right.
And so you have to go out with a shovel and scoop it up, right? And the plow comes and pushes it off the road. But you know what? Even when you scoop it up, and even when the plow comes, it still doesn't go anywhere. It just sits down at the end of the road, right?
It gets really hard. You can hit one of those
things and wreck your car. A freaking mountain. And so what they do is they push all the snow to the end of the road, and then they come across the cross street and they push it down to the end of that road, and they just keep moving these big, increasingly larger and larger snow piles.
Till you end up with a ski slope at the edge of town.
Until you get to the Walmart parking lot. And that's where the snow lives, in the Walmart parking lot. They push it over to the edge of the Walmart parking lot because the parking lot is slightly slanted on that edge, and there's a runoff ditch. So in the springtime, when the snow begins to melt, that big mountain of snow that you can't even see Walmart over, it begins to melt and runs down into the drainage ditch, and it becomes a little creek. And then the beavers come, and they build a dam in the Walmart parking lot drainage ditch. And every time you turn into the parking lot, there's that little, the little turn lane that you have to get in to go into the Walmart, right? When you get into the turn lane, there's going to be a beaver hanging out there, and you're going to hit him. you know, and there's just going to be a pile of beaver carcasses all through the spring. It's amazing.
Because a lot of people don't realize beavers are actually good-sized animals. I mean, they're not a moose, obviously.
Yeah, they're big.
I think people think beavers are sort of like twice the size of a guinea pig or something.
No.
Beavers can be.
Beaver is the size of a beanbag chair. Imagine a beanbag chair, like
a full-grown beaver can be a beanbag chair with a tail,
right,
and teeth,
with a big tail that can take down a tree.
Yeah, a beanbag chair that can eat a tree.
That's a beaver.
Evolution is amazing.
Whatever, it's a ridiculous animal, man. And but groundhogs. We have groundhogs here. I love groundhogs. You know,
we had a hedgehog, little juvenile hedgehog. It wasn't a baby, but it wasn't full grown. That when I was in Europe in the Army, ended up being our barracks pet for about a week or so. We had this little field problem. What actually happened was we were doing like a perimeter guard thing at some combo site. One of the guys, he was on watch after me. I think he relieved my watch. Anyway, so he's up kind of up under this tree, and a hedgehog came up. Because I heard the story from the other guy that was out there. This guy was trying to deny it. It was hilarious. The dude thought it was a baby hog. It was like, 0200 or something, dark 30. And so he treed, man. He thought Mama Wild Pig was coming soon because we did have him there. So he whooped up the tree, and then so the other guy comes up. He's like, "Dude, it's a fucking hedgehog, man."
Yeah.
And
so they're like this big, right?
Yeah, little hedgehog. And so they, anyways, he found his way back to the barracks. And so we kind of had him around the barracks for about a week, maybe, or some week and a half. I don't think it was even 2 weeks. And I kind of, not everybody knew, but the right people knew. And then we had like our sort of like monthly like payday barracks inspection, or some barracks inspection came up. And so top sarge and like our platoon sergeant, whatever, the cadre, they're going around room to room. Anyways, they're about to walk. It was actually into my room. There's 4 of us in my room. I was room commander. And they suddenly, just as I'm kind of walking our door, guy does a double take down the hall. Like you can tell he saw something. He's kind of like, Did you see that? What was that? Well, what had happened was they had the hedgehog stashed somewhere in one of the rooms down the hall. And they had been inspected already. And the hedgehog got loose and shot across the hall into the next room across the hall. And they just happened to look over when the hedgehog went across the hallway. And they were like, did you just see a hedgehog in the barracks?
I didn't.
So it came down. No one really owned up to owning the hedgehog. We were all just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Someone left the door open too long and a hedgehog came in.
We have an infestation.
Yeah, and anyway, so we had to go take the hedgehog and put him back out in the woods. We had a name. I think we named him Tank, if I remember. I don't remember. Right, it was Tank. I think it was Tank the baby hedgehog was the name of it. But
of course,
he ran right with the barracks mascot for like a week or so, something like that. We had to go put him back out in the woods, and but yeah. So hey, man, it's around 2. I know you got things to do. I got to get ready and go to my workout and get brutalized today. It's a crazy workout today. Let me see.
Hey, let me ask you something while you're looking for that. Did you ever think more on? Are you planning on doing a election day stream or what?
Yeah, I'd kind of like to do something like that. I need to get that magic board, like what's it John King has on CNN.
There's one
do stuff, and
there's one on 538 actually. Do you?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing a live stream.
Can you? Am I sharing the screen right now?
Yes.
You can see it
here. Yeah, I've got it right here. I was gonna pull it up. Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There it is. So there's this thing on 538. It's called what is it called? A Trump Biden election map, right? And so then you can like hover over a state and it'll tell you like the chances of winning, etc. But looking at the state like Ohio, for example, it's like a 58-42 split in Ohio.
What do they have for Florida? Go down to Florida.
Florida is like 67-33. Biden. But check this out. You can go up and like change or select. So for example, let's do Ohio. Let's do Pennsylvania. Let's say if Pennsylvania goes Biden, I just logged in Biden. And then it will tell you how likely. Look at this.
Oh. Yeah. They're saying if Trump loses Florida or he loses Pennsylvania, it's over. In fact, if he loses Florida, it's over.
Yeah, and it's actually Ohio, Florida, or Pennsylvania, either one of them. But it looks like Ohio is trending towards Trump. So maybe they're not even considering that anymore. But it wasn't a matter of he has to lose all of those places. It was a matter of if he loses one of those places.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like you're holding it's like you're juggling a bunch of balls in the air, and if one ball drops, it's over.
And the thing with Pennsylvania, I can tell you, dude, I talk to people. I have a lot of patrons come in the library and want to talk politics, and that's fine if you want to talk politics. But you know my views on what constitutes politics, right? But these people have said to me numerous times, you know, I typically vote Republican, but I just cannot vote for this guy. You know, now you got to understand here when Trump ran the first time, the promises made in this particular part of the world were coal mining related promises,
right?
And he was, you know, that industry's dead. It's dead. At the very best, it is dying. Right, but it's
solar employs more people, makes more money, and then throw in wind. I mean, this whole people think that, like, I don't know, they still think
but
that
you know,
we're this primarily coal burning.
Here is a cultural thing, and it's like my granddaddy worked in the coal mines, and my granddaddy's daddy worked in the coal mines, and that sort of thing. You know, it's like it's been passed down through generations. Right. You know. And those old Eastern European families that moved here, and that's all they know. They know cooking pierogies and digging up coal. That's it, right? And so Trump came and told them, hey, you know, vote for me, and I'll bring back the coal industry. And so they did. And then he didn't, and now they're mad.
Right.
And that's where we are. We got a bunch of mad white people in central Pennsylvania, and a lot of them are ready to vote him out. And a lot of them just want to drive around in their pickup trucks with their stupid flags flapping around.
Oh, we got tons of that around here.
Yeah.
We got tons of the, you know, the Trump flag dudes. Yeah, I'll be honest, I flip them off, man. They come across it, and I just like, you know, I'm cool. You know, it's like I try to explain to people, this isn't like when Bush ran. Like when Bush.
No, it's totally,
how he got reelected bothered me. But
it feels totally different, though.
Yeah, it's like, you know, okay, so I disagree with his platform. I'm not happy, but you know what? I can work with it.
Yeah,
it's within the realm of
that's what I was saying earlier. I was like, hey, at least he's a politician or whatever. You know, like I mean, at least it's a platform. And so what is that?
I didn't feel like George Bush was going to try to be Mussolini.
Right. What was that thing about in The Big Lebowski when John Goodman is like, you know, do we have to work? Should we be afraid of these men? And he goes, no, Donnie, we don't have to be afraid of these men. These men believe in nothing. You know,
these are nihilists. They can't hurt us.
They're not fascists. At least fascism is an ethos. You know.
Yeah.
But
I got that. Maybe I don't know, man. It's like sometimes I feel like election night. I just like that. I could just put on like Big Lebowski on repeat on my DVD player. Just get drunk. Yeah, we'll do the live stream that night. That sounds like a pretty good deal.
I think it would be really cool, man. I think you get a lot of people who come in and like, you know, just talk trash or cry, one or the other.
There's probably a good chance. I think that Wednesday I'm not going to go to the gym the day after because I may try to. I'm going to devise a drinking game out of the live stream that everyone can participate in, and I'll figure out the rules. I don't like every time a state goes blue. You take one shot. Every time a state goes red, you take two. But that could turn into a lot of shots. I'd be falling over.
When do you think they'll have the final results tallied? Though, will it might not be Tuesday night because of all.
No, it won't be Tuesday night. I don't think it's going to be like a month. I think unless they just drag it out. I think judging by how many people are voting early already, 3 days, maybe 2 days. I think 3 days.
Yeah,
I think it'll become fairly apparent.
Yeah, they'll have a good measure, you know, by the end of Tuesday night. You'll have some good reports. California won't go final until nearly 11 o'clock our time.
Right,
you know?
right.
So it'll go late. But if you just went on, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours or something like that, you probably get enough.
Yeah.
To tell, you know.
Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll do that in a week. So, hey, man, here's your opportunity to let me take this off here. Remove. There we go. Yeah, so we were gonna make this one like instead of being on the Patreon thing, we're gonna make it a public thing. So here's your chance because you do this better than me. I ain't gonna lie. I hate bugging people. I do like to bug people, but usually over like things like religion and politics, versus subscriptions. But tell the world right now why. Tell them real quickly, and then I got to jump in the shower because I ain't gonna lie. I didn't get a shower after the gym yesterday, so I can get one now. It's funky. So I can go sweat again in an hour. But Why should people subscribe to Rucksack Rev on patreon.com?
Oh, easy.
Hang
Easy.
on, wait a minute, man. Let me put the little thing on. I've got it right here. Here we go.
What is the thing?
There we go. Down on the bottom.
There it is. Patreon.com, Rucksack Rev. Listen, you folks watching this, here it is, man. The pandemic hit. Gene went on this road trip. America looked like it was going to hell in a handbasket, and maybe it still is. Who knows? But I don't know, man. I kind of like to have hope that it's not. But Gene documented all of this. He lived it. He was in it. He was the boots on the ground, you know. And so we have this thing. We have this tiger by the tail, and we want to share it with people. And you'll get hooked. You'll watch one, then you'll watch another, and then
tell me what are you talking about? What episode you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about the documentary,
Elvis
Burger. Yeah, Elvis Burger. So like, you know, now the thing is that it's a sad reality that Gene should be allowed and encouraged to make money off of this, so that he can continue providing this kind of content. And Gene likes to say, "Oh, people can get this anywhere." No, you can get podcasts anywhere. You can get interviews anywhere, but you don't get these kinds of podcasts, these kinds of interviews, this kind of documentary. All right, this stuff is legit unique. All right, there isn't anything like this, and so watch it. It's excellent.
Joe Rogan ain't got shit on us.
I mean, the people who do watch it are thankful that they're watching it. I mean, we were on lockdown for so long. TV wasn't being produced. There was no entertainment being produced, and all of a sudden we were like, why do we have to wait on somebody else to make our stuff? We can make our own stuff. And so we want to continue to make this stuff. And there's no reason why we can't. So, subscribe, support your local artists, et cetera, and your local gonzo journalist. It's not expensive. I mean, even if you go at the highest tier, what is it Gene likes to say, like 30 cents a day? Come on, man.
$9 a month.
You
get with the blog, you get the podcast, you get the documentary.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like picture Hunter Thompson without the vodka and hard drugs. That's what the road trip was.
We can get some vodka.
I didn't have any vodka. I did have a shot of Jameson and Sturgis.
Right.
And 3 cans of PBR that night. And I was only going to have 2 cans of PBR and basically a coked up hotel heiress, kind of a washed up Paris Hilton, basically, was at the bar in Sturgis. It's one of the major bars downtown. I can't remember the name of it. I have to look it up. But I just went in. I had just taken a knee at Mount Rushmore during the retiring of the colors. And then they applauded veterans. So I stood up and they all got to applaud me.
Right, yeah.
But and then read I Am Waiting by Lawrence Ferlinghetti, filming Mount Rushmore at night. And I actually had, I almost couldn't do it because my battery almost died on my phone because I was waiting I needed if you have been to Mount Rushmore, it's kind of a viewing area there.
Right, the platform, yeah.
And everybody had left, but there's a couple people coming out, a little family. I had to sit around with my phone's on like 6% and I couldn't recharge it or whatever it was. It was really, really low.
Yeah.
And there was a family there, kind of college-aged kids maybe. I think it was 3 daughters, mom, dad. 15 minutes while the mom is trying to get a photo of one of the daughters picking George Washington's nose.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting there, she's like trying to get, moving her lips to the right. There you go. You're right on his left nostril. And I'm thinking and I'm just going I was going to write a blog post last night and I didn't. I'll do it tonight, but I'm going to write about that, man, going into this election. My impressions of Mount Rushmore, which were not good. And I don't mean the typical, we destroyed the Indian holy area, or Native American holy area, which is a big deal.
Sure.
Or just we deface nature.
Right.
That's a big deal. Or that the guy who designed and built it was in the Klan. That's a big deal. But it's sort of like, so you come here and almost have like a religious experience about being here, more or less. Some kind of pilgrimage to get there. And then, when it's over and the colors are retired and you've applauded the veterans who folded the flag, now you're about trying to pick George Washington's nose.
Well, you have to do that first before you buy the bobbleheads.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. The whole damn place is.
And play laser tag.
10 miles, 15 miles of
laser tag.
Tourist bullshit, to
what we need
get
to do?
This holy site basically in America.
We could fix the whole thing. We could just import some beavers.
Yeah. It was just because I had to go to Sturgis. So I went. I was going to have 2 cans of PBR. You'd have loved this place. I walked in. They were playing Tool at 12.5 on the volume.
I edited the video.
And it was relatively empty. It wasn't like during bike week. And I'm just having a couple of beers just to unwind and kind of figure, okay, what's my game plan? Where I'm going to stay tonight, whatever. And all of a sudden, this woman, I hear this voice to the left of me at the bar. It's just like, what are you drinking? Like, hey, sailor, what you drinking?
Right.
And I look, I just PBR. She goes, no, asshole. What do you want to drink? I'm buying you around. So I said, well, I look at the bartender. I said, Jameson. I'll do a shot at Jameson. And I guess back me up another PBR can for that. He's like, you sure you want to do that? I was like, you asked, man. What do you want me to? What do you want? Ripple? I mean, you know. And she was highly coked up. Like she's talking to me, like running her hand up her nose, and 3 trips to the bathroom in 15 minutes, that kind of thing. And so I'm just like, okay, here's a story, you know. And bartender told me, since she'd been telling me she was the heiress of a bunch of hotels, including a nice little resort hotel by Red Rocks, Colorado. You know where they have the concerts. Mm-hmm. I know the hotel. I've driven past it many times going to shows there when I lived in Colorado. And he told me, he says, yeah, listen, man, in Sturgis, don't ever doubt, man. Like people, really famous people and people of means where they come here and just because they're totally coked up and look like they haven't had a bath in 4 days, don't think they're bullshitting you.
Right. And
she was basically, I don't know. She was one of those people, she looked like she'd had a hard life. She could have been 40, but she looked 70 kind of thing, you know? Right. But it was sort of like, yeah, Paris Hilton in like 15 years or something, you know, kind of a thing. Yeah. So, but I was like, whatever, you know, but it was kind of weird. But anyways, hey, yeah, I got to jump in the shower so I don't smell bad when I go to the gym to smell bad. But yeah, again, so like, here's the deal, people. I'm just going to say it because I'm lousy at this. Mitch is really the promoter. He's the P.T. Barnum of this, along with being the brains. I'm just the trained elephant that performs, okay? But like, yeah, you know, so it's basically like, you know, $3 a month. You get this like documentary we're making. I think it's going to be like 24 episodes. And it's basically me driving around the U.S., filming things, everything from Buffalo to, you know, the autonomous zone in Seattle, to, you know, various protests and things, but also Buffalo. And
a lot of poetry, a lot of music,
a lot of poetry, a lot of drumming, a lot of interviews with people, just stuff. And then, so that's that 10 cents a day. So that's like, you know, $10 a month, nothing, $20 a month. No, actually $20 a month. I'm sorry.
20 cents a day.
Yeah, 20 cents a day. So $6 a month. What, $20 a month? $6 a month.
Feel free to send $20 a month though.
My brain is already doing burpees that I'll be doing in an hour.
Yeah.
So like 20 cents a day, $6 a month. You get that, and we do a couple podcasts a week like this. And actually, I want to move it up to 3 a week.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I really do want it. You know, I like the number 3, so 3 a week. Ideally, I want to do like 3 live streams and 3 podcasts a week. That would be 6 nights a week.
That'd be cool.
And yeah, just me on here talking shit, and you get to pay me for it, and that's great. But no, $6 a month, the podcast, the documentary, and then what was it? $9 a month, 30 cents a day, so $9 a month. I can tell you, yesterday those 2 IPAs that guy bought for me because I was a vet, you know, after the gym. I think it was $10. So basically, he could have got a subscription and got the blog, got everything, got the whole,
and kept his dollar. You know,
I should have told him, dude, no, don't buy the beer from me.
You absolutely should.
I wasn't.
Listen. Yeah, I know why you feel this way. I know you feel like you don't want to promote this because you feel guilty in some way, or it's like, you know, you don't. I just feel like I'm taking somebody's money, and maybe they need. I know you get the sense.
Yeah, I'm that way, dude.
Right.
I'm that way. You know, I get this feeling people think I'm trying to become a millionaire. No, I'm not.
No, the thing is, you feel that way because you feel it's a little bit of imposter syndrome. It's a little bit. I'm telling you the truth.
Yes.
You feel like that you are not authentic, but dude, watch the preview video. You said it yourself. If anything, this is authentic. It really happened. This really happened. Yeah. This is real. We didn't plan this out. You sent me a text message while I was eating a turkey sandwich and said, let's do the interview. And I was like, all right, wipe my face and come on camera. You know, it's very, very real. All right. Occasionally, Gene will use profanity in front of my children. And it's very, very real. Yes. It is real.
Josie had some questions about your
very real. Right.
Yeah. Mitch called me. The first thing he'll say is, I'm giving Henry Lewis a bath.
Right, you're on with Mitch and the children.
Right. I'm like Uncle Buck to these kids, you know.
Why,
so it's like,
why would you not want to? And the thing is this medium, I guess you call it a medium. It's actually multifaceted. It's a multi-layered thing. You can participate in it. It isn't. You don't just get to watch it passively. You can do stuff. You know, I mean, we got Warren on here talking, and now Warren's using StreamYard. He's using it with his.
Is he cool?
Yes, he is, and that's what he's going to use to raise the money to do the telethon to take down the the statue in Tuskegee. So it's all of this comes. It's very organic. It's growing. We'll get better. We'll do more and
we're way better than when we started.
It was I
had to learn making the documentary simple things like when you shoot a video.
Turn the camera
sideways.
Right.
It only took me like 2,000 miles to figure that out. By the way, this road trip was 66 days and over 17,000 miles.
Yeah. Yep.
People say, "Where'd you go?" And I go, Maine.
Where didn't?
That's a long trip.
It's easier to say where didn't you go?
Yeah. Someone's asked me, said, "Where'd you go?" And I said, "Well, I went out to Oregon to see an army buddy." And they go, "And how'd you get out there?" I said, "Via Maine."
Yeah,
via Maine. Like,
yeah.
How'd you come home?
How'd you get back?
You come straight home? Yeah, via
Arizona.
Right. And then back up into like what was it? Down the coast to California, across Nevada, Utah, down to Moab, decided to go see a friend in Phoenix, then across to New Mexico, back up into Colorado, back down into New Mexico, back across Texas, Oklahoma, and now
ultimately,
this latest episode.
Ultimately, it was a tasty burger.
It was a tasty burger. It was all. This was all because Mitch thought I got thrown out of the house, basically, and it was just supposed to be about a 1-week road trip, and I didn't know where to go. So he told me to go to this joint in Virginia and eat an Elvis burger. And I got there, and the restaurant was closed, and I had nothing better to do. So I drove around about another 15,000 miles or something, just hanging out in the U.S. and seeing stuff.
Who doesn't want to hear that story? Who does not want to hear the story of the Elvis burger? What a story!
Yeah. I mean, get it now before it's on Netflix.
Hey, you joke.
We're gonna work on that. I'm gonna get the book written first. I'm gonna sell the rights.
Yeah,
for sure. And then I can bitch and say that's not how it happened at all. They made it into Hollywood.
Right. I'm moving to Bhutan.
Yeah, I'm moving to Bhutan. I'm fed up with all this media bullshit. Anyways, so hey man, I'm gonna put on the sponsors. I gotta jump in the shower. I gotta take a fast army shower now to get ready to go. So let's see. Where's my little sponsor? Mitch makes all this cool stuff. And dang it, where's the?
It's called ads.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing on the screen, so I never see it. Here we go. So I'm gonna talk to it. Rucksack Revolution production. Rucksack Revolution comes from the Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac, by the way. Another great road trip person. There's Scarlet Code for Art on Patreon and Redbubble. She's really cool. Scarlett's a former student of Mitch's, actually.
Yep.
David's Delicious Delights. I call him Cheesecake Dave, man. He's going to make me a cheesecake.
I'm about to go visit him on the way back to the library. I'm going to stop over and see him.
And Hometown Action. This is a guy, Warren Tidwell. They just do a lot of, if you think it's nothing but, like conservative jerks in Alabama, there's actually a few cool people doing some cool progressive things. And
he said that people call him a corncob communist.
yeah, corn communist.
Oh, cornbread. I'm sorry.
And you'll see
cornbread communist.
And coming up here with the documentary, like I said, we do a episode every week that Mitch puts together from the videos and whatnot that I filmed. And coming up real soon is the Drive Through the South. And I'm just going to tell you right now.
This week we're crossing back over the Mississippi River this week.
If you're into civil rights here in a couple of weeks, you're going to start seeing it because Warren and I had a day, and I did some more than this. I was in Jackson, Birmingham. But yeah, Warren and I went to the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, and we went to Montgomery and Freedom Rider Museum. Just a lot of cool stuff. This was right around the time John Lewis died.
John Lewis died 2 days before you walked across the bridge. And
that's right. And then his body was
across 2 days after you walked.
Yeah, 2 days. We were right in the middle there. Yeah, and in fact, in Montgomery, we were at a memorial gathering.
Yep.
Whatever you would call it. I keep calling it a wake, but it wasn't a wake because there was no booze involved.
No, it was a memorial. Yeah,
memorial. C.T. Vivian and John Lewis, and it was just really amazing. So then you'll get to see the little cornbread communist that I was hanging out with. Yeah, and I guess I'm a cheesecake communist because I love cheesecake. But anyways, so hey man, that's it with that, and so I'm gonna hit the little cool funky tunes going out of here, and I got about 5 minutes to get ready to get out the door.
See you, James. See you, everybody.
Later on.
Later
Here we
on.
go. End broadcast.